So, Lethal Weapon, Leo Getz. The whole thing about him, he's a comic relief, but I think the way he's written, he's just supposed to be small and obnoxious. And somehow that seems to justify Riggs and Murtaugh just constantly slapping him around for no reason. Right from the second that you meet him. And, you know, when you meet him, it's like a bullshit assignment. Oh, we've got to take care of this guy. We don't really want to take care of him. But they take it out on him immediately. Like, as soon as they walk into a hotel room, it's like, hey, how you doing? Hey, shut up. And they smack him in the face. Holy shit. How awful. How awful are they to Leo, who, by the way, through 3 movies, is nothing but incessantly loyal to these guys. And you know what makes it so bad? What makes it so painful? Everything about Leo's character comes to a head at the very, 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 very end of Lethal Weapon 4, where he's talking to Riggs over his wife's grave, and he's talking about how they're the best thing in his life. These 2 guys who talk shit about him constantly, slap him around constantly. They fuck around with his medical chart in the hospital, so doctors give him all sorts of exams. Like, they mess with his medical records. They accuse him of drinking in front of a cop and get him, you know, like, pulled out of the car for drunk driving. They actually, also in the same movie where Leo has his most heartbreaking monologue, they talk about, hey, let's have him follow this gangster around. And the one guy's like, oh, well, you know, Murtaugh's like, he's so bad at following people. That guy will see him and shoot him. And he's like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's have him follow so-and-so around. And you're supposed to laugh along with that. Like, oh, how funny. They're putting him in an incredibly dangerous situation that he's not prepared or trained for, and where he could literally be killed by a guy that they've seen kill other people and has gotten away with it before. Leo is such a good and loyal character. And they're horrible to him. And the thing that makes it so bad is they're all so aware of it. That monologue, end of the movie, over the wife's grave, Leo says, you guys are the closest thing to family that I've actually loved and cared about, that I've ever had. And Riggs looks at him and is like, we're horrible to you, man. Like, they know exactly how shitty they're being and have been for presumably years at this point. And it's just striking him that he didn't realize that Leo cared about them so much, and they just been treating him like a piece of shit for no good reason. And Leo tells him that sad story about his frog, which always makes me want to cry. But not only is Riggs aware of how awful they are, and that's never stopped him or slowed him down at any point, Leo goes on to say, he's like, no, I know, you guys mess with me, but you've also taken care of me when you didn't really have to. And it's like, oh my God, Leo is also aware of the fact that they treat him like total shit garbage constantly, but he accepts it because it's the best that he can hope for. Leo Getz the most tragic character ever. Certainly the most tragic character in the Lethal Weapon series, but God, that's so heartbreaking. Oh, poor Leo. He deserves so much better. All he wants to do is help them. He becomes a fucking PI because his big greatest role models in life are police officers. He becomes a private investigator to be closer to what they are, these 2 guys that he loves and respects and admires so much. He changes his whole life and follows them into danger over and over and over again. And they never say anything good to him. Riggs gives him a hug at the end, and you're like, oh, Riggs can be nice. And it's like, well, that's great. He gave him one hug after a decade of abuse. It's like, I get that it's a cutesy, good, feel-good moment. Like, he had this connection with Leo and talked to Leo, and now he's kind of come around a little bit on how, now that he thinks about it, Leo is an important part of my life and part of my family. Leo's in the picture at the end after he finds a rabbi for them and they yell at him because it's not a priest. It's like, Jesus, you're giving him impossible jobs. You know what? We did one of these videos about how they don't detect fucking anything. Leo detects for them. In the third one, he's the one who finds Casa Mesa Arroyo, whatever the fuck it is. He finds the bad guy hideout in the third one. He follows Uncle Benny to the dentist's office and gives him that interrogation opportunity. Like, Leo's constantly... Oh my god. Unsung hero, Leo. Not just most tragic character. Unsung hero. He gets 2 titles today. God, I feel so bad for Leo. We should watch that Froggy monologue right now. I guarantee you'd burst into fucking tears if we did.
You know, when I was a kid, I had a pet frog.